take photos and that sort of thing. Thank you very much.
I brought her over.
Thanks, John. Now you have to fix it.
Switch account. Yeah, that way.
I don't think she wants to calculate.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Tom, how are you doing, Tom? Come on.
Took that one. I did my duty. Okay, I'm coming through.
Oh, we do.
My mother-in-law doesn't want the chair, so I'll take it. Yeah, there you go. She likes to stay in back.
That's fair. It's pretty crowded up here.
Here's my offer.
No, I don't want to pay money. Yes.
Let's go for your camera.
Hello. How are you? You got a croissant?
No, wow. Chocolate.
Where'd you go to? The place I got.
There's a bunch of little kids back there, and they're all in astronaut outfits.
Is that you?
Look at it, look. Oh my God.
Oh, it is Ollie.
Oh my God.
Oh really?
Those,
How
yeah,
cute
and our
is that?
member.
Oh my God.
He's worn it to camp.
Oh, look at that. Perfect. She's like changing. Yeah. her, but you're doing it for the good of the organization.
That's good of the people. I don't have it.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. The chart sticks out like that. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. Hey. Well, so they didn't give a +1. So I'm thinking of giving up my seat so my wife and I can be together.
Smart.
So
Marcia.
So I think Rachel's the most deserving. So this is my seat, but maybe I can give it to one of them and take their spot. So Katie?
No, I'm good standing.
Wallace? No?
No, we're just hang out.
Thank you.
We'll take somebody's.
Trying seating, that's not Raffio.
But
Yeah, maybe Dave McDonald.
He's right over in the blue with the, he's a camera.
He's my colleague.
Dave.
Oh, you work with Dave?
Yeah,
So which one's Dave?
He was our colleague.
There he is right there.
He's been doing that since I was in 4th grade. He's been at the planetarium, so it's cool to work with him now.
He's standing in the back with his wife.
Yeah, he's with
His wife next to him.
with the wife.
Which is his wife.
The one with the white button-up shirt.
Okay, with sunglasses.
The fabulous pants.
There she is. There she is.
She's like, go without me. I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what she said.
I love this. With readings like my favorite.
Here he comes.
Do you want to sit in the VIP? No, right there. You're very good.
Good morning.
Actually, a better seat. Good morning. Right in front of your head.
Here.
There he goes. He's staying there.
And your other colleagues. We always had somebody.
It didn't sound like it.
Did for the salary. I get it, but
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is James Scully, and I have had the privilege of chairing the Christa McAuliffe Memorial State House Commission. I would like to welcome Governor Sununu, the Deputy Administrator of NASA, Colonel Pam Melroy, the federal delegation, elected officials, members of Christa's family, former students of Christa's, fellow astronauts, commission members, and the people of the great state of New Hampshire and beyond. Welcome to such a historic day for the state of New Hampshire, and a sincere thank you for joining us. I would like to introduce the Right Reverend A. Robert Hirschfeld, Bishop of the Episcopal Church of New Hampshire, for the invocation. Please rise for the invocation and the singing of our national anthem, sung by the Concord High School Chorus under the direction of Bryn Collette.
Gracious God, the beginning and the end of all our endeavors, you have planted within us the yearning for truth, the daring of new discovery, and the exhilaration of bold exploration. We gather today to honor your faithful servant, Christa McAuliffe, on her birthday. We cherish her legacy and the myriad gifts she shared with us all. The love and adoration she held for her family, Steve, Scott, and Caroline. Her dedication to her students and colleagues at Concord High School. Her wonder in the splendor of the vast expanse beyond the skies and this fragile earth, our island home. Her courage in the face of peril and risk. Her devotion to this community of Concord, this beautiful granite state, and this nation and its irrepressible confidence. O source of all compassion and consolation, we also continue to feel the sorrow of the tragedy of that cold January morning 38 years ago, when we lost her and her 6 fellow astronauts so terribly. May words spoken this day and the sculpture we will soon unveil bring comfort, honor, and inspiration to us and all the generations that come after. As we were united in shock and grief on that morning and the days that followed, may we find ourselves reconciled and united before you and each other in our pursuit of the mysteries of life and the universe you create, uphold, and make holy. We thank you for Christa's spirit of selfless service and sacrifice, and we pray that you may shed that same spirit upon us today and always. Amen.
Thank you. Good morning again. Please take your seats. Good morning again, and what a special day it is. I would like to begin by thanking Governor Sununu for making today a reality. By way of his executive order establishing the commission, and with the support of the New Hampshire legislature, we are here today on what would have been Christa's 76th birthday. Governor, your vision and your dedication to making this a reality is something everyone in New Hampshire should be grateful for. As the son of a lifelong educator and the father of 2 young, beautiful girls who are here today, it has been the privilege of a lifetime to assist in honoring a New Hampshire hero and the first woman to be memorialized on the State House Plaza. When this process began, admittedly, I did not know the complexities of what it would actually take to get us here today. One of the remarkable things, though, about this process was how many hands were involved in making this happen. Everyone I talked to and everyone that worked on this, from the foundation to the granite base, to the bronze, to the crane operators, even to the sound technicians this morning, shared stories of what Christa meant to them. and it was a constant reminder for me of the person we were set out to remember. Honoring someone who was such a remarkable woman in a way that would embody her spirit and love of teaching was certainly no easy task. When the commission set out to solicit artists, we were incredibly lucky to have found Mr. Benjamin Victor. His ability to turn bronze into life is nothing short of remarkable. Barbara Morgan, Christa's alternate, unfortunately cannot be here today, but was gracious enough to allow Ben to use her suit while he created this remarkable piece. We are grateful to Barbara and her support throughout this entire process. I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to thank some folks who are in attendance today. First, to Christa's family, her husband Steve, her children Scott and Caroline, and their siblings. Thank you so much for being here. And to Christa's family, thank you for allowing us to remember your Christa in such a special way. Secondly, to each and every commission member, your selfless dedication during this process is something I will never forget, and I cannot thank you enough. I would also like to thank Mark Cronus for completing the installation, Oak Point Associates for donating the foundation, Rock of Ages for the beautiful granite base, and American Crane. Additionally, I would like to thank Deanna Juris, Carrie Johnson, Ben Wilson, and Michael Murphy and their respective teams for their support of the commission. Christa will never be forgotten, and her legacy will continue to live on. But with this statue, I hope that everyone that visits this special place, the capital of the state of New Hampshire, is drawn to this piece. I hope it inspires those that are fortunate enough to visit here to reflect on Christa's impact on so many. An educator, one that was so driven by her passion to enlighten students that she applied for the Teacher in Space program. In Christa's application to the space program, she said, "It is my hope that students leave my classes with strong democratic ideals and the tools to be useful citizens. I want my students to feel good about themselves and to have a successful learning experience." She continued, "As a woman, I have been envious of those men who could participate in the space program and who were encouraged to excel in the areas of math and science. I felt that women have indeed been left outside of one of the most exciting careers available. When Sally Ride and other women began to train as astronauts, I could finally look among my students and see ahead of them an ever-increasing list of opportunities. I hope that all young people who visit this unbelievable statue are inspired by Christa's story and always, always understand that the opportunities to do whatever you want to do in life are endless. Reach for the stars. It is now my honor and privilege to introduce the 82nd Governor of the state of New Hampshire, Christopher T. Sununu.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
This is awesome. I'm very excited. It is great. We've been blessed with great weather and a great day. When you kind of look out in the crowd, it's like, holy smokes. I mean, everyone really showed up, right? Folks from the past, folks from today. It's just all about the opportunity that we're trying to create. This isn't just a statue. It is really a symbol of what we're trying to promote here in New Hampshire in so many ways. So, this idea was envisioned. I had this idea a long ago, well before I became governor, actually. Because I had, as a student, I was in the 4th grade when we first started seeing Christa. She had just been selected. And as a 4th grader, you're like, wait, she's from New Hampshire? Oh, wait, she's a teacher? Oh, wait, she's like one of us, right? In terms of a student's journey, who you look up to, who you admire. And to see her, I don't know if some of us can remember, I'm just barely gray-haired enough. You could kind of follow her progress, right? She would come on television. She would talk about her training. It was an immense training. It took over a year, right? She had to take the sabbatical for, it was at least a year, I think, where you had to go down and do some very intense training, even aside and beyond the application process. But she was always out there, right? She was on the news. She had all this incredible enthusiasm. I remember being younger and thinking, I saw her on the news, she had these great one-liners sometimes. And she was fun. And you're like, yep, that's a teacher. and that's going to be America's first citizen in space. And she happens to live up the road, right? It was really an amazing, amazing thing as a student to kind of watch it happen. And then you learn of the whole process where it was from over 10,000 different applicants. And she was just larger than life, but she was just down the road, right? And that's an amazing connection. I think New Hampshire is very unique in that aspect. We're all connected by community, right? We lean on each other. We don't just have government figures up here or famous people over here. We're friends, we're neighbors, we're community. This is how we get things done. This is how we separate ourselves, I think, from the rest of the pack. And I think ultimately, it's that spirit, that enthusiasm, that connection that probably wowed the folks down at NASA to set her apart from over 10,000 other individuals that had applied. So we all, across every corner of the state, we all shared a lot of pride that Christa was truly like no others, and that she was going to be racing up to the stars. So right now, you know, when you think about where we are today, and I was thinking about this as the process was going along. And the process, by the way, I'm gonna kind of jump around a little. I can't thank so many people, as James mentioned, so many people were involved with making this happen. And when I first had this idea, I said, okay, folks said, well, you know, we finally got the legislative approval. It'll probably take 2 or 3 years, like maybe 2025 or 2026, and maybe we could get something done. I said, no, that would be government. We're not doing that. I said, it's her birthday. You got till her birthday. And they said, that's only 18 months. And I said, don't worry, you'll get it done. And they did. We put the best and the brightest. We went through a full application process, all the reviews, but it wasn't something where folks had a meeting and went home for 2 months. These folks were at it. This commission was at it, engaging with the public comments, engaging with the community, engaging with their family, all the different pieces. And to have all that come together from basically an idea to reality in 2 years is nothing short of a miracle, especially when you're dealing with government. So I can't thank them enough for making that happen. And to all you naysayers that said it couldn't be done, we got it done, which we're all very excited about. Now, obviously I have a connection with Christa, being a student and all, but you know, one of the best parts about being governor, I see Senator Shaheen here as a former governor. And Senator Hassan, hi Maggie, how are you? Sorry, I didn't know you. I didn't see you as a former governor as well. I think we can all agree. Is John here? I feel bad. Is Lynch here? Where's John? No. Okay. I think we can all agree as governors. One of the best parts about being governor is when the fourth graders come in, right? In this state, most of the fourth graders at some point have a chance to come in and tour the State House. It is awesome. And that's one of the best times you go out, and I think I speak for the two senators here. Those are the toughest questions we get. I'm sorry, press, you guys are nothing compared to fourth graders. Grilling you, open and unfiltered about what it's like being governor and what you have to go through day by day. And so the opportunity, knowing that as a fourth grader, who you admire, who you look up to, that's your teachers. And now knowing that every fourth grader that comes through the State House gets to walk by our hero teacher is an amazing opportunity. And she was so positive. She was all about hope. She was all about a better tomorrow. She was all about finding solutions. She was all about thinking bigger than yourself, being inspirational to that. And to lead off every tour in the State House now with students walking by Christa, understanding who she was, knowing she was right up the road, and giving every kid that spark that sometimes isn't there, especially if you're watching the news lately, right? Oh my goodness, right? But we have this amazing opportunity to live in this state, to live in this country, to have these opportunities. And so to kick this off, to kick those tours off and those days off with every kid, I don't think there's ever been a time when not just a statue or a symbol or an individual, but an opportunity like this to grab hold of and take advantage. All the more reason why I think we're excited that it's happening today in 2024. We're not wasting a moment's time. And every kid that gets to come through here after today gets to kind of share a little bit of that opportunity. They might not have been here during those exciting times in the 80s, but shares a little bit of that opportunity, a little bit of that spark that we all got to tap into. You know, I'd also be remiss. My mom and dad couldn't make it here, unfortunately. My mom's health isn't well, but you know, my dad afterwards, my memories are all about kind of before she left, and then the biggest memories, we did a big sabbatical. My parents did a ski race and they raised money, and now over at the Charitable Foundation, they have a sabbatical and they raise money into a fund. We did the Christa McAuliffe ski race and the Christa McAuliffe sabbatical fund for years. And the whole point was to raise money so more teachers could do exactly what she did. So more teachers could take a year off and have an exciting opportunity to find adventure, to find, learn something else, and then bring it back to the classroom. It was always about bringing it back into that classroom. And the fact that, I was able to, be part of that. I was just a kid at the time. I was more running around doing a lot of logistics stuff, but my parents were very proud of it. I know the fund still exists over at the charitable organization, still providing opportunities for teachers. So again, just an immense point of pride, not just for me, but my family, and an opportunity for the state. So look, I just want to say a big thank you. This, again, it's not just, to have a family here is amazing, to have the statue here is done, but it ain't a statue. That's not what this is. This is all about that symbol of opportunity and hope that every kid, that every individual, as they cross these grounds, gets to take a little bit of pride in here in the great Granite State. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Governor. It is now my honor to introduce Colonel Pam Melroy, NASA Deputy Administrator. Colonel Melroy was commissioned through the Air Force Reserve Officer Training Corps program in 1983 as a co-pilot, aircraft commander, instructor pilot, and test pilot. She logged more than 6,000 flight hours in more than 50 different aircraft before retiring from the Air Force in 2007. She is a veteran of Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Operation Just Cause, with more than 200 combat and combat support hours. Colonel Melroy was selected as an astronaut candidate by NASA in December of 1994, one of only 2 women to command a space shuttle. She logged more than 38 days in space. She served as a pilot on 2 flights, STS-92 in 2000 and STS-112 in 2002, and was the mission commander on STS-120 in 2007. All 3 of her missions were assembly missions to build the International Space Station. Colonel Melroy, welcome to the great state of New Hampshire.
Thank you. Thank you, James. Thank you, Governor Sununu. Thank you to the Christa McAuliffe Memorial Commission for having me here today. This is a very special moment, and I'm very proud to be here to represent NASA. We're here today to reflect on the enduring legacy of Christa McAuliffe, a figure whose influence on NASA and the broader space exploration community remains a very poignant symbol of courage, of commitment to education, and the inherent risks of space exploration. As NASA prepares to bring new human spaceflight capabilities online, Christa's story serves as powerful inspiration, and it really underscores the critical importance of safety, education, and the human spirit in our endeavors beyond Earth. As has been mentioned, Christa was selected in 1985 from more than 11,000 applicants to become the first civilian teacher through NASA's Teacher in Space project. Her inclusion in the Challenger mission symbolized a transformative era for NASA in the shuttle program, one where we aim to inspire and educate the next generation by involving educators directly in our missions. Her planned lessons from space were designed to ignite a passion for science and exploration among students, not just in New Hampshire, not just in the United States, but around the world. At NASA, we go to space to do unique things that don't happen the same way here on Earth. Science and the exploration of our solar system. To build national capabilities that make our lives better in many ways, and to inspire the next generation. Christa, of course, embodied and represented the ideal, making space accessible not only to astronauts, but to educators and humanity as a whole. Her participation in the Challenger mission was a testament to our commitment to educational engagement, which has since paved the way for many, many outreach programs and inspired countless young people, including myself, to study STEM and to want to become the explorers of the future. Her important and valuable legacy has allowed us to send more teachers to space, including her backup, Barb Morgan, and Joe Acaba, currently the chief of the astronaut office, and my good friend Ricky Arnold, who during the 2017 and 2018 school year brought Christa's lessons to the space station and completed her mission. It was incredibly tragic that the Challenger disaster cut short Christa's life, along with the lives of 6 other astronauts. This profound loss led to a deep reassessment of NASA's safety culture and safety protocols. Christa's death was not in vain. It spurred crucial advancements in spacecraft design, risk management, and the overall safety of human spaceflight. In the wake of the Challenger tragedy, NASA made safety and transparency a cornerstone of its culture. We have had to learn the lesson again, but the lessons learned from Challenger disaster continue to guide our approach to space exploration, because that's the way that will ensure that their sacrifices will never be forgotten. This is a particularly important time for us now as we proceed to bring our latest human spacecraft, the Starliner, only the 6th in the history of NASA, home later this week. We had to make the difficult decision to have the crew stay on board the space station and come back with the next crew. This decision, made by the NASA administrator Bill Nelson, who himself flew the flight just before Challenger, reflects NASA's historical experiences and our perpetual commitment to safety. The return of this test flight represents significant progress for NASA since Christa's era, demonstrating our dedication to safety. So the dedication of this statue is very timely, coinciding with current projects like Starliner and Artemis, our ambitious endeavor to go back to the moon and create a blueprint for responsible, sustained presence throughout the solar system. This moment commemorates not just Christa's life, but also highlights the enduring relevance of her mission in today's landscape and the future. The statue will stand as a symbol of the resilient human spirit that Christa embodied, reminding us of both the risks and the rewards of exploration. Christa McAuliffe's impact on NASA transcends time. Her mission catalyzed change, leading to a safer, more inclusive, and more educationally focused space program. As we embark on new journeys, the lessons of the past have to be integral to our future. We're excited that this statue not only honors Christa's contribution, but also serves as a beacon of inspiration for future generations, ensuring that her legacy continues to shape the course of human space exploration. Happy birthday, Christa. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Melroy. The Christa McAuliffe State House Memorial Commission announced an arts contest to the children of New Hampshire from kindergarten through 12th grade and had submissions from all age groups. The commission selected 3 winners. From kindergarten to 4th grade range, a unique piece of art submitted by Claire Ling, a student at the Moherman Elementary School in Madbury, is featured in your program. Claire has joined us here today. Welcome and congratulations. From the high school range, Jenny Padavan, a student at Belmont High School, was also selected as a winner. Jenny's piece is also featured in your program. Jenny has joined us here today. Welcome and congratulations. From the 5th to 8th grade range, an essay from Nathaniel Dunlap, a student at Maple Street School in Hopkinton, was selected as the winning submission. And it is now my privilege to invite Nathaniel on stage to read his essay.
amazing, kind, smart person. She inspired many people, and she has definitely inspired me. Sharon Christa McAuliffe has inspired many people because she achieved what was thought impossible. She was a teacher that went to space. She took the opportunity to be an astronaut when NASA offered it to over 10,000 people. She inspired many people. For example, Dean Kamen, founder of First Robotics, which helps young students get into STEM and robotics, was inspired by her pure love of assisting others to learn. On a personal level, she had motivated me to look out for all opportunities and take them. If life looks like it's going one way or another, keep an eye out so that change is still possible. It has inspired me to try to be the best I can be as a person. I want to be a computer scientist, but if the opportunity to become a trumpeter arose, I would take it, because being a musician makes other people happy, not just me. Christa McAuliffe inspired my fifth grade teacher, Miss Jakes, to be the best teacher she could be. And in return, Miss Jakes inspired me. Miss Jakes had Christa McAuliffe as a teacher. Miss Jakes told me that Christa McAuliffe was a good teacher who was extremely talented at explaining difficult topics. Christa McAuliffe also had kids involved in real-life activities. She was a kind person with a cheerful personality, the kind of person you want to be around. I remember when I was in Miss Jakes' class, she put so much effort and kindness into teaching us not just to be smarter, but also to be our best selves. And since I just experienced it, I can easily imagine it happening in Miss Christa McAuliffe's class. All in all, I think that Christa McAuliffe was an amazing teacher who took the opportunity to become an astronaut and changed the world forever doing it. Thank you, Christa McAuliffe.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Well, I think he did a much better job than I'm about to do introducing Miss Jakes. Chris Jakes is a dedicated educator and passionate advocate for children's growth and development, born and raised in Concord. Chris graduated from Concord High School in 1986 and was a student of Christa's before pursuing higher education at Trinity College. With a master's degree in reading and writing, Chris has devoted 34 years to teaching in New Hampshire, making a significant impact on the lives of countless children. She is committed to fostering self-confidence and a love of learning in her students. Chris, welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we gather to remember a remarkable woman, a teacher who not only shaped the minds, but also touched hearts, Christa McAuliffe. As we unveil this statue in her honor, we are reminded of the profound impact she had on all who are fortunate to be her students. Statues are erected to commemorate those who have done extraordinary things or led people in meaningful ways, and Mrs. McAuliffe did both. As a teacher, she greeted each of us at the door with a smile and a cheerful hello, setting the tone for learning and discovery. Her approach to teaching was progressive and inspiring. She didn't just lecture, she engaged us all. Mrs. McAuliffe believed that learning was most effective when students become part of the lesson, actively participating in their education. I remember how excited we were in her class, whether it was participating in a mock trial, studying the intricacies of law, or contemplating deep questions that challenged us to think beyond our own belief system. She didn't just teach us about the world, she taught us how to be part of it, the responsibility to be an active citizen, to pursue our career goals, and to find hobbies that would bring us fulfillment. There was a moment in class that I will never forget, and as a somewhat egocentric 16-year-old at times, it gave me pause. A student, shy and withdrawn, never participated. Mrs. McAuliffe reached out to him gently, drawing him out of his shell, making sure he knew he was seen, that his voice mattered. I remembered looking from him to her and back again, impressed at the art of what she was hoping to accomplish. This moment was such an important life lesson on how to treat others, something a lesson plan could never achieve or account for, but her genuine care for others did. She could have easily focused on students who were always eager to contribute, but she didn't. She believed that each student was important and valuable, and little by little, that student began to participate more. It was a powerful lesson, not just for him, but for all of us. I didn't choose to go into teaching because of Mrs. McAuliffe, but I carry with me the lessons and the values that I learned from her every day. I strive to make each child I come in contact with know they are wonderfully unique and special. Help them see and reach their full potential. To reach out to those who may be struggling and to create a warm, inviting environment filled with energy and positivity, just as Mrs. McAuliffe did. When Mrs. McAuliffe was away training, the world got to know the incredible woman she was. And we are so very proud of her because she was ours. She was our teacher. Even with her busy schedule, she made every effort to keep us updated on all she was learning and made her return visits to Concord High a priority, sharing her experiences with us in person and proving again just how much we mattered. She remained dedicated to her students while away, writing notes, completing letters of college recommendations, and offering support to students who she knew needed it. Mrs. McAuliffe wasn't just a role model in teaching, she exemplified how to live with integrity, ambition, and an unwavering love for learning. At the end of my senior year at awards night, I had the great honor of being the first recipient of the Christa McAuliffe Award for Excellence in Social Studies. To say I was stunned and overcome with emotion is an understatement. It continues to be one of the proudest moments of my life, not only because of the work I did to earn the award, but because I received an award named after my teacher, Christa McAuliffe, who I looked up to and respected. A true testament of her impact on myself and all the students and the legacy she left behind. We were incredibly lucky to have her as a teacher. This statue is a fitting tribute to a woman who stood for so much ambition, decency, the love of continued learning. I'm so happy this monument is here, and who knows, maybe we'll have a Christa McAuliffe Day throughout the state of New Hampshire. Thank you, Mrs. McAuliffe, for all you gave us. Your legacy will live on, not just in bronze, but in the countless lives that you touched. Thank you.
At age 26, he became the youngest artist ever to have a sculpture in our nation's foremost collection, the National Statuary Hall in the United States Capitol. In 2024, he achieved the remarkable distinction of becoming the only living artist to have 4 sculptures in Statuary Hall. Art critics and organizations, including the National Sculpture Society in New York City, continue to recognize the aesthetic and conceptual integrity of Benjamin's artwork. His passion and drive clearly show each of his unique and profound creations. With expressive features, exquisite detail, and thought-provoking content, the work of Benjamin Victor is sure to take its place among the great masterpieces of art history. Ladies and gentlemen, I now introduce this spectacular artist who I am so grateful to have met throughout this process and worked with, Mr. Benjamin Victor.
Thank you. What a day. Man, what a turnout. It's so wonderful to see so many people and friends and family of Christa here today. And if I talk to you about her in a familiar manner, please know that that's not disrespect. For the last, I guess about 7 months while I've worked on the sculpture, I've felt like I've really gotten to know her, not just through the videos and books and photos that I've viewed, but just through the time of reflection that I've had of the inspiration that she's impacted on my life and on so many kids that grew up in that time period. You see, my mom was a teacher, and at that same time, she was just so excited that they had a teacher in space program. And this teacher that was just one of us, she seemed like everybody's teacher, everybody's mother in America. And when you saw her on TV as a little second grader, you just couldn't help but relate to her and think of all the wonderful teachers in your own life that impacted you as a student. So my grandmother was also a teacher, and one of the things she said, she was an art teacher, and she said that empathy is the key ingredient for an artist. You really have to have a large amount of empathy. And so at a young age, as I was watching this all unfold, and my story is a lot like many of you in the audience today, they brought out the big TV, the old TVs that were so deep and on the big cart for us all to watch. And we didn't really know what happened until it was explained to us. And it was just so tragic and so sad, and I couldn't help as a young artist, not knowing that I'd go into a career in art, but just having that empathy, I couldn't help but think of her kids that were about my age, and they are about my age still. And now as an adult, as I look at the story and I've watched the footage and seen her mother continue her legacy and her sister and everybody in her family, I can't help but think of her husband, you know, at 45 years old now, and in my life, married with children. I just look back on that tragic day, and my heart goes out to the family. But there's a silver lining in all of this, and that's what we're here to celebrate today. And that is that her lesson is continually taught. And that lesson of inspiration hasn't been lost in the disaster. And her memory will go on forever. And that lesson of inspiration is the joy and the spark and the enthusiasm that she had throughout her life. She was courageous. She really was. She went up there into the unknown to do something special for the next generation. And I can tell by the speech that was just given that that is continuing on generation after generation, and it will never die. None of us really know when we're going to go. We're all going to go at some point. But isn't that the real point of life, is to leave a legacy like this, like she did? And so it's just beautiful. You know, it's tragic, but there's a beauty in it. And we all have to remember that today and have a bit of joy like she had. So that's why when you see the sculpture unveiled, she's smiling and she's striding forward, because that's the whole point of that legacy, is that we need to carry the torch on. So all of us are hopeful in that way, and I know that everybody's very proud, and everybody here in this community feels like they were family to her, and that's just been so special to me. This project couldn't be more inspiring, and as an artist, I can't think of a better way to use my skills than to channel it into that spirit of Christa McAuliffe. It's been very special, and I hope all of you will watch the PBS special. They've been following me throughout this whole process, creating the clay and the bronze. So it's been just a wonderful time in every way. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for treating me like family here. I appreciate it.
I would now like to introduce again the Concord High School Chorus. Fantastic. Thank you so much. It is now my privilege to introduce to you the Honorable Stephen James McAuliffe, Senior United States District Judge for the United States District Court of the District of New Hampshire. Judge McAuliffe, and to the rest of Christa's family, thank you.
Good morning. A beautiful, beautiful day. You'll understand after 30 years, 34 years almost, this is still difficult for me, which I guess I'm kind of proud of. Coming down this morning from New London, my beautiful and supportive and wonderful wife, Kathy, was a great stepmother to our children and to our own children. She turned to me and she said, and I wasn't stressed, she said, "You can do this," out of the blue. And I turned to her and I said, of course I can do it. I'm the man of steel. And she let that sit for about 3 minutes, and then she turned to me and she said, "You're a softie." She said, "But you can still do it." Had I known I was going to be following the governor and Colonel Melroy and Nathaniel, my gosh, and Chris Jakes and Ben Victor, I might have reconsidered. Those are amazing, amazing remarks. So please bear with me. I'm going to use a prepared text, which I know is not the best way to do a presentation, but there are some important things that I do want to say, and I want to make sure I get it right as I thought it right previously, as opposed to as I'm standing here extemporizing. So I'd ask your indulgence. Great singing, by the way. I have an opportunity as a district judge to preside over many new citizen swearings in, and we always have choruses from around the state that come and perform. That was awesome. You guys are good. Even the boys participated with enthusiasm, which is not something that we see all the time. You guys are great. So, Governor Sununu and members of the commission and honorable guests, friends, thank you very much for affording me the opportunity this morning to say a few words on this really inspiring occasion. It was about, I think, a year and a half ago that Governor Sununu called me out of the blue. We were driving down to Florida, Kathy and I. We were on I-95 somewhere in nowhere. And the phone rang, and normally I wouldn't answer the phone as I'm driving, but I picked it up. It was a 603. And it was, the voice said, "Hi, it's Chris Sununu." And I said, "The governor?" And he said, yes, the governor, Chris. And I said, and he said, listen, he said, as you hear his excitability, when he gets engaged in something, he's excited. He's excited. He said, "Listen, I've got a great idea. I think the budget will accommodate a memorial, and I'd like to put a statue of Christa on the State House lawn, the first woman to have a statue on the State House lawn." And I thought about it, and given my background a little bit as he was talking, I said, I can foresee some difficulties for you for pushing a project like that. And he said, he quickly dismissed my thinking. He said, don't worry about it. I can handle it. We're going to do it. If you're okay. And I said, the family would be extraordinarily honored and humbled by a statue on the State House lawn. And he said, "Great, done. I'm going to do it." And on it went. There it was. It struck me at the time. I was thinking, I wonder why. What gave him the idea? And then I realized, as he mentioned, I knew his dad pretty well, John H., and governor, and his mom Nancy. And after Christa died in the Challenger accident, they were incredibly supportive on a personal level. They were incredibly supportive on a public level. They started the Christa McAuliffe Ski Invitational that raised lots and lots of money to support education, teachers and students. They were indefatigable, and of course they're very nice people.
There is that old joke about how the children got the personality of Nancy and the abilities of John. Seems to ring true today. But anyway, I was very grateful, and our family's very grateful for that. Let me also start out by apologizing this morning for any failures of diction or delivery on my part. This occasion and an inherited weakness on my part conspires against me often. The weakness being Irish sentimentality. It's the kind of sentimentality that forgets neither sorrows nor grudges and compels public displays of either on occasions without notice. So there may be, I hope there won't be any grudges, but there may be some sorrows. Christa, there were some basic truths about Christa, and you've heard them referred to already. Christa loved her family. She loved her children. She loved her friends. She loved her calling. She loved being a teacher. She loved her students. She loved their successes, and she loved helping them overcome adversities of all kinds, not just education related. On more than several occasions, we had high school students staying at our house while they settled problems they were having at home. I once mentioned to her, I said, this could be a bit of a liability risk. And her response was, so sue me. She loved hearing from her students. Let me tell all of you students, we're all students, teachers love nothing more than to hear from students that they taught 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, telling them how they're doing and how much that teacher meant to them. She loved that. She very much loved her own life here in New Hampshire. Christa was both a tough-minded and a tender-minded person, and unlike many of us, probably unlike most of us, Christa really knew herself and was comfortable being herself. She was a champion of women's rights as early as high school, and that wasn't easy. We attended a parochial Catholic high school in the early 1960s, long before the word woke was even a word. She was a fiercely independent thinker, a fearless and unembarrassed do-gooder, a volunteer, a friend to everyone, a compassionate and empathetic young woman who was tireless in the pursuit of a fair and a just society. She was a happy person. She laughed contagiously and she made other people happy. She was a fabulous teacher and mentor. So, it should not have been a surprise that she was selected by NASA's Teacher in Space program, but of course it was a surprise, and she was thrilled. She couldn't wait to get started. But that selection and all the celebrity that followed didn't change her in the slightest. She knew who she was, and she was content with who she was. From the outset, she said over and over again that she saw herself as an ordinary person who had been given an extraordinary opportunity. But there was another part of that opportunity. That opportunity, of course, included training for and flying in the space shuttle, which she was over the moon about. She was very excited about that prospect, that opportunity. But there was another part of this opportunity that meant far more to her. The opportunity to represent her fellow teachers, to play an effective national role in focusing the public's attention on and fostering public appreciation for the critical role that teachers play, not only in educating our children, but also in teaching them to be honorable, ethical, and informed citizens, thereby contributing immensely to the protection of our democracy, helping to bring about an ever-improving society that values integrity and good character and good citizenship. That representative role, that's being the face of teachers and educators in a very public way. That opportunity was the extraordinary opportunity she most valued and fully embraced. But Christa, I know, would have a more complete perspective on this statue and on what we celebrate here today. I can hear her. Over the years since Challenger, I've resolutely resisted the temptation to attribute to Christa words or thoughts that might actually just be my own. You will recall my earlier comments that Christa was a fiercely independent and tough-minded person. But the exception often proves the rule, or so we say when we prefer the exception over the rule. And I think that it's not too much of a risk this morning for me to say a few words on Christa's behalf. Words that I know to a moral certainty that she would want me to say. And I know as well to a moral certainty that she would be decidedly not pleased should I fail to say them. So here goes. I know, unhesitatingly and without reservation, that Christa would be so proud and humbled by this highest of honors conferred by her home state in her hometown. But she would also think that this honor, to be both disproportionate and way off the mark if it's seen as a personal honor, separate and severed from the representative role that she embraced. It follows that I also know this, unhesitatingly and without reservation. Christa would want me to stress, on her behalf, to insist sternly, in fact. Her family, friends, and students no doubt can attest that she was fully capable of sternly when stern was called for. She would want me to sternly stress that this statue must be seen and appreciated as she hoped to be seen and appreciated, as a classroom teacher representing her profession, as a stand-in for all teachers and all educators. Just reminding myself I'm the man of steel. She would want me to encourage everyone who encounters this memorial artwork to remember and appreciate the teachers that inspired or motivated or guided them. The ordinary heroes who are also joyfully and with the same grace and enthusiasm, with the same courage and commitment, embracing every day the extraordinary opportunity to educate them and their children, and who, together, make it possible for this greatest experiment in democracy to continue, this free country in which learning and individuality and progress and the chance to live purposeful and meaningful lives is available to everyone. Committed teachers and public education are the lifeblood of every sustainable democracy. That would be her wish. That is what she would want me to stress this morning. And that is the context in which her family and her friends hope everyone will view this statue. It is a great honor for Christa, and at the same time, inseparably, it is a great and deserving honor for the teachers and educators across this country. I want to thank you, Governor Sununu, for your idea and for your leadership and your commitment, and thank the Executive Council and the New Hampshire Legislature for making it possible, and the Commission, of course, whose members volunteered to do the heavy work necessary to make this statue a reality. And a personal thanks as well to friends Bill Dunlap and Ben Wilson, who kind of guided me through this process from afar, from close, but afar from the Commission, I guess. And I want to thank everyone who worked so hard in large and small ways to bring this about on behalf of our extended family. And of course, immense thanks to Benjamin Victor, who you may not know is apparently a good friend of Barbara Morgan's and grew up in Boise, Idaho. So Christa would really, really appreciate that connection. She and Barbara were really, really close friends. I particularly want to thank, we haven't seen the statue yet, of course, it's imminently to be unveiled, but I do know that Benjamin worked tirelessly with great care and concern to pursue the relevant history and detail in support of his work. You know, every once in a while, Ben Wilson would send a text to me and say, you know, what did her ring look like? But how big was it? But what was on it? And so it was like he wasn't satisfied to just make a statue. He really, really dug deep. So while we wait for the imminent unveiling, I know we all confidently anticipate that Christa's statue will be inspiring and moving, and I suspect for people in New Hampshire for a while longer still, painfully beautiful. I hope teachers everywhere will come and see it. I hope they will take pride in their noble work. I hope students will come and see it, and I hope they will be inspired to pursue their dreams as far as their talent and effort will allow. I want to thank you all so much from our extended family and Christa's circle of terrific friends and colleagues for allowing me to give these remarks this morning. And like you, we all can't wait to see Benjamin's work. Thank you very much.
The time has come. What I would do is I would ask everybody, if they're seated, to remain seated and to not crowd the statue. There will be plenty of time afterwards to gather around the statue. But at this time, I would like to invite Governor Sununu, Steve, and Christa's children, if you would like to come unveil the statue. Benjamin as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming on this historic day for New Hampshire. This concludes today's ceremony, and you are all invited to a reception at the New Hampshire Historical Society down the road on Park Street. I want to thank you. I want to thank Christa's family and thank Ben. What a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.